What's up, guys? Today we'll be talking about some more advanced cloning techniques. A lot of times we get in these really sticky spots where we just can't clone anything, and the color gradients and the lighting gradients are really tough. So today we're going to look at a quick way to solve all those problems. So let's jump on in there and take a look. All right, and here we are safely back at the computer, away from any dust swirling trains. So if you guys remember back a couple of weeks ago, we talked about a lot of cloning methods and just did a really comprehensive review of all the different methods that I use to get good and quick results with real estate. But I wanted to jump in here and get an example where it's really quite tough, and this stuff comes up very often, and so we're just going to jump in here. The thing I wanted to do was clone out some of these outlets in here. And if you look at these closely, the gradient, it's very dark over here and it's light over here. It's almost like the light is coming from up here and it's being stopped from going over there. And the same thing is happening over here. Okay, so we've got the stamp tool, and I'm just going to try and do this with the stamp tool. And as you'll notice, it's not going to work out very well. So I'm just going to try and prove a point here. And you guys know this. Sometimes you get these really tough examples when it's not very easy, right? So I'm going to sample right there, and I'm going to get this out. And that looks pretty good, but the problem is if I keep going over here, it's just going to look too light. And vice versa, if I was to do that and try and kind of get almost in between, something like this. Let me try it one more time just to convince you. And I'm not, trying to make this bad either. And then I was to come from the other side with the darker tones. See, it's just not looking great, okay? It's just a really, really tough area, okay? So I'm going to undo all that. And it's so amazing how easy this can be if we jump back up here and we go to the healing brush and we go to the healing brush tool. Last time we talked a lot about the spot healing brush tool. That's very quick. You don't have to sample. But we're going to use the healing brush tool today. And I would say, the whole point of this lesson is when you're really having trouble kind of pulling your hair out and there's gradients and there's all this stuff and you can't like clone anything over. And, like the stuff we did in the last lesson where we took a patch from somewhere and we pulled it over and we kind of like masked out the edges and all that good stuff. We did a million things. You can't really paint here. You can't do frequency separation. You can't do any of that. If you're just pulling your hair out, all right, just go ahead and remember this healing brush tool. And your main time that you're going to want to use it is in situations like this where there's these really tough to deal with lighting and color gradients also. Like the color could be changing a little going from left to right, right? It was really tough to do that with the clone stamp tool or the paintbrush tool or anything. So I just wanted to show you guys that it was really tough. And now we have this healing brush tool, and watch how easy this is. We just line that up. We sampled with this one. We line that up. We don't have to pay too much attention to getting the correct shades, all right? We just can see. I could even probably sample from over here if I wanted. So anyway, just to do it, I'll sample from right there, line that up. It's going to use that pattern, and watch how easy this is going to go. It's not perfect, but you see how well it's doing that, because what it's doing is it's taking that underlying layer, and you see how good that did. I mean, you cannot even tell. If I just zoom in a little, and we can just see what that just did. And if we're kind of comparing that to what the clone stamp tool did a minute ago, where I was really having trouble, and I really can't duplicate that gradient from anywhere, right? I can't grab that from over here. I can't grab it from around here. All right, so this is really powerful. So I hope you can see if I tried to clone this, it would just be a total nightmare. But again, I have the healing brush tool. I don't even really need to sample from anywhere too specific. I'm just going to get right there where I do have that. You got to get that rib in there, okay? Don't forget that. And the other thing you'll notice is really nice about this tool is it's a hard edge. so you can brush, and it's not like brushing with a clone stamp tool where it's really soft and you have to be careful about where you go. This is more hard edged, and you can just get in there and it's showing you almost exactly where you're brushing, okay? And see, there's just a little bit of air down here, and it'll grab that right out, okay? And it'll take that, what it's been doing this whole time is it's taking that information from that underlying layer that we had before we did anything. It's actually taking that lighting information from the underlying layer, okay? And look how good that looks. I mean, there's a little, if you can go ahead and spin as long as you want on these, you guys know that. There's a little bit of weird ribbing in there, but you know, again, this might even be a situation where it would be tough with the clone stamp tool. There's all these color gradients and stuff, and yet look at that, and it's gone, all right? It is gone, and you couldn't tell that. But trust me when I say, if I would have done that with the clone stamp tool, you'd see all these funky little spots and all these weird little, you know, noticeable gradients, and just, it would be rough, okay? It would be really not as good, but this is looking really, really natural, okay? Okay, and I'm going to do one last example, so don't forget, you got a sample, so I'm going to get that sample right there, and you got to get that kind of underlying pattern. Don't forget, if you don't line that up, let me try it. If you don't line that up, see, it's not going to work, okay? You got to line that up. It's taking that underlying pattern, but the rest of it, it's doing with sort of the pattern, not the pattern, but the lighting gradients and stuff that were already there, okay? And that's the power with this. It's a very, very great way to do this, and it's so quick too, okay? Let me just grab that. I didn't do a very good job on this, but still, look how easy it is to clean up, okay? So easy. Just run right back over that stuff. And see, that was a little bad, but I can just undo that. Sample right there. Just grab it right there. And see, it's looking great now. I didn't line this up at the start. That was my error, so just fix that up a little. See how good it does? And if we come back a little bit, I think that's really doing a great job of just replacing those and yet keeping that underlying lighting gradient that's there, okay? If you look at those, all of them, there's a little gradients everywhere, lighting and color, and it's keeping all that intact, and that's why it's so effective, okay? Just make sure you line it up a little bit better than I did in that example, and you'll be fine, all right? So that's it for today, guys. Don't forget, the healing brush tool is great for sampling that nearby pattern and yet maintaining those color and lighting gradients. And it's a really good way to get in there quickly and do some really good looking and effective cloning, okay? So I hope I'll see you next time, and take care. Right here.